Hi, so this is a bit of an update to the spending 40 years waiting to be allowed to see a rheumatologist. So I've had a couple of consults now with the rheumatology team, and I have recognized that they're simply not up to the job. They're not for me. And the reasons I've come to this conclusion are as follows. So there's a new medication out for people with FOP, and it doesn't cure us, and it does not protect against the additional bone growth. It just slows the additional bone growth down, so that obviously it buys us more time. It's definitely by no means a cure, but it's definitely a medication that I was wanting to take up. And when I first met the team, they had done some research into this new medication, and they talked openly about the possibility of using the new medication. And that seemed like a major step forward for me in a positive light. The possibility of being able to use the medication was extremely important to me. And I felt joyous that I may have that opportunity because other people don't. Previously in the past, it hasn't been available to people, and they haven't fared so well as a result of that. And so I was asked to have some x-rays done prior to considering what we were going to do and probably commencing the medication. And I went back for another consultation, and the person that I had the consultation with was different to the first doctor that saw me, that said, yeah, you know what, we're on board with the potential use of the medication. Was a completely different doctor. And he let slip during the consultation that in his view, we were never going to use the medication. And so he was like, we're going to treat it the old way and simply just monitor it, or we're going to use surgery. Now, we know surgery speeds up and accelerates the FOP damage. So there's no way I'm doing surgery. That's my decision, and I'm just not doing it. And I've made that abundantly clear. If they're not going to use the medication, then there is no point in me having a consultation with the rheumatologist. So I'm not interested. The rheumatology team has completely failed me. They've been abusive and ridiculous to me during consultations, antagonistic, disgraceful. I mean, one of the consultations, a third party that was sitting next to me during the consultation actually hung up the video call on the basis that the doctor was being abusive towards me. That should never happen. A third party that overhears it should never have to say, this is abuse. If it doesn't stop, I will terminate the video call. Well, the video call got terminated, and I wasn't sorry. I will not be abused by doctors or nurses or anybody else. I will not. I don't do that to you, so treat me with dignity and respect. Okay? Second of all, once I realised there was no chance and it had come to the point where a member of the public had to end the video call, I realised there's no point in getting x-rays or scans done because they're of no benefit to me. All they're doing is exposing me to additional radiation. And obviously, I've been exposed to quite a bit of radiation while they've been checking on the FOP and how that's progressing. And so I don't want to be exposed to any additional radiation that I don't have to be exposed to. So the only reason for me to expose myself for radiation to that group of rheumatologists was merely for their own records and entertainment. But, because I'm an entertainment, I'm a curiosity, and that's why they wanted to expose me to radiation. That's basically what happened. And so instead of looking at treating me or furthering my care, it was merely just get these scans done and x-rays so that we can sort of have them for our records and entertainment. And that is so abusive and hurtful to me personally. It's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. And as you know, if you're exposed to a lot of x-rays and a lot of CTs, which I have been, it elevates your risk factors of developing cancer. Now, in the regular population, that's okay if you just have a few x-rays, no big deal. But we are talking about a lot of x-rays and a lot of CTs. And in fact, one group of radiologists has already contacted me and said, look, according to our records, you have had way too many, and we are going to stop offering you any further x-rays on certain parts of your body or scans on certain areas of your body, because we feel that it has reached the point where it is unsafe. So for a radiology firm to do that, then it must be quite serious. And yet, no, they still wanted to go ahead with it for their own amusement and their own entertainment, this rheumatology group. So that's a concern right there to me. That, you know, they're not meeting safety, you know, with regards to me. They're not considering, you know, it's just for their own entertainment. And I've had lots of doctors in my time want x-rays within, like, for their own personal file, for their own personal amusement. I've even had one doctor request full body scans with the view that he would keep them in his private room, you know, because it would amuse him. So I don't get treated like a human being. And that's really sad, that at a major Melbourne hospital that a lot of people respect, and I was actually referred there simply because of the respect factor of my GP, who previously worked alongside these doctors, is why I was sent to that hospital. But it's pretty scary to think that a major Melbourne hospital didn't care about me enough and decided that it was okay to run the agenda of their own amusement and be silly with me, instead of saying, you know what, we'll consider the medication. I'm not going to consider scans for you people for your own amusement. That's ridiculous. And I don't consider that acceptable. If you're not going to help me, then walk away. Do not ask for scans that could quite easily generate cancer, as I have been told by the radiology group, you know, in a warning that I've had far too many. Don't do it if you're not going to help the patient and seek out proper medical care for them. It's just disgraceful. Who do you think you are that you can treat me no better than the days when people like me appeared in circuses just to survive? And I feel like nothing has changed in society. Instead of me being in the circus, I'm paraded around for doctors' amusement. That needs to end, because it's like a circus in how it's done. This doctor meets me, that doctor meets me. They all need their own personal scan with their own name on it. You know? Their own this and that with their name on it about my body. Well, that needs to end. There's far too much of that coming from respectable doctors and respectable hospitals, and it needs to end. Okay? Because it's not on. Furthermore, the hospital needs to learn about consent. You need to gain the patient's consent. The rheumatology department made a referral, even though during the consultation I was asked if I would like a referral to that particular professional, and I said no, I don't require a referral to that particular professional and I don't wish to see them. This rheumatologist still went ahead and made the referral against my wishes, and I only found out the other day when the doctor that I was referred to contacted me and said, hey, are you aware that you've been referred to me again? And I said no. I actually told that rheumatologist I didn't want the referral and that I did not consent. So here we are again, we're having issues with consent. Doctors believe they have the right to do things to me without consent because I have a rare condition called fibrosia ossificational progressiva, where I'm turning to stone. Now, I don't believe just because I have FOP that negates my rights to consent or not to consent to certain types of medical treatment as and where and how I want. Okay? So that rheumatologist on the staff needs to learn about consent, because right now he clearly has no idea. He thinks that it's about him and the patient has no rights. Well, I'm here to tell you, we have rights in Victoria and I will exercise them. So they need to learn about consent there at that particular group of rheumatologists. They also need to learn how to get on a patient's level and feel things and see things from a patient's perspective. When you've been disrespected for as many years as I have been by doctors, including a number of abusive doctors, be nice to get on my level and realize that I will only attend your clinics or even speak with you if you consider something for me that's a positive for me or something that's nice for me. It's not all about getting samples of my body against my consent or doing whatever you want to me because you want them for your personal entertainment or gain. It's not about that. And there's some lessons that you people need to take away from this. I've had many years of living this circus, so don't think this is my first rodeo. Okay, is what I'm telling you. So unless somebody wants to make the offer of the potential use of that medication, don't contact me again. And there are 2 doctors that I never ever want to hear from ever again under any circumstances who are part of that rheumatology group. And you know who you are? And yes, I'll publicly mention you if you continue to bother me. It's over. Stop asking for things. Unless you're going to reinstate the possibility of the medication, your dealings with me are done. So stop sending emails. Okay? I've politely answered you in excess of 20 emails. If you don't understand what I am telling you in 20 emails, you're never going to understand my position. And my position is the only way you'll get scans or x-rays is if you reinstate the possibility of the medication. Okay? I'm making it plain and simple. It shouldn't take 20 emails and you still tell me you don't understand. Well, what's there not to understand? And the other concern that I have is in these 20 emails, the head of the rheumatology department, the name of the head of the rheumatology department has changed 5 times. It's supposed to be 5 different doctors. So who is the real head of rheumatology at this major Melbourne hospital? Because right now I have no idea. On 4 separate occasions, I've been introduced to someone who is claiming they're the head of the rheumatology department at this major hospital. Now, I know that realistically they can't have 4 or 5 heads of rheumatology. There has to be 1 head of rheumatology. But it's interesting how staff seem to elevate their position and lie to me. Well, once you start telling lies, then I can't trust you. And this is another issue, in why I'm not happy with your service, is that with patients like me that have been, handed around and abused medically and mistreated because they're rare and people want scans from them and ornaments from them, right? When people have been handed around like that, once you start lying to them, maybe it's one white lie here, like I told her I was the head of the rheumatology department, which I'm not. It then becomes a case of I can't tell when you are lying to me and when you are telling me the truth. And once we get into that murky area, then I'm really sorry, but I can't work with you. And that's scary for a patient, because if I ever have to have something done, like an operation or something where I'm not 100% conscious or 100% well, or I have fears now. You've promoted the fears that I have, because I think if you can't tell me the truth about who is the head of the department, and you all pretend to be the head of the department and introduce yourself as the head of the rheumatology at this major Melbourne hospital, if you're going to lie about that, and you're going to lie about the fact that the medication was ever on the table for me, then what else other lies are you going to tell me? And so now, there's a whole rheumatology department in a major hospital that is so dysfunctional, I can't even attend. I can't even go there, because how do you, with someone who has been and had some pretty awful medical things done to them that were not within the sphere of their consent, how do I then approach you for care? Who is the real head of the rheumatology department? I don't even know. And that's a pretty basic thing. So I don't know where the lies begin and end with you people. I don't. So unless you want to refresh and start things anew, then I don't think we have anything to talk about. You're not getting your scans, you're not getting your x-rays, and you're not getting your trophies from my body. See you later. Okay, so unless you want to apologise and restart the relationship and keep those two doctors away from me and provide me with some measure of safety in the medical environment, then we can't move forward. Thank you. See you later. I've told you in the 20 emails my position and my conditions, and now the ball is in your court. I'm not going to keep emailing you, and if you keep emailing me, I will not respond. 20 emails in the space of a week is far too many. Clarifying, I would need the medication on the table. I would need the lies cleared up about who is the head of rheumatology, and you need to keep two doctors who have been abusive to me away from me, because one of them believes I have no ability to consent or whatever. He can just do whatever he likes to my body. Well, news, you can't. The other monster abused me so badly during a video call that a member of the public that overheard it actually came on and said, "This is abuse, and I will end the video call if it continues," and that person ended the video call. So those two doctors don't ever need to be anywhere near me again. Those are my conditions before I'll even consider having any scans or x-rays for you people. Treat me with dignity and respect and have a consultation with me and clear up these issues. They're my conditions. I will not bend on them. I've emailed you 20 times. At what point do you say, you're doctors, you're supposed to be highly intelligent, smart people, you're doctors? 20 emails I've stated my conditions, which is what I've previously stated just then. And so now it's up to you to either meet those conditions or not, as you please. But I'm not going to devote any more time to emailing you people, because you are spoiling my days. My days are more precious than yours for a lot of reasons. I don't know if tomorrow how bad things are going to become. So my days are more precious. I will not have them spent chasing after you people and answering emails. I will not bend on my conditions. Your rheumatology department is a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.